Hey, yo, Red, do you remember the record?
What record, man?
I'm talking about, you remember Insane in the Brain by Cypress Hill?
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
Yo, what's up, Cornerstoners? My name is Johnny Warbux, and I'm here with Kalishnikov Red, and welcome to our second installment of Remember the Record. Today, we're talking about Insane in the Brain by Cypress Hill, which was first released as a single back on June 1993. But before we talk about any of that, in honor of the recent passing of Hurricane G and Tim One, I'd like to All right. Listen. Before we start talking about Insane in the Brain, let me quickly ask you, man, what have you been listening to lately, dude?
I've been listening to some Ice Cube. Always got to keep it old school, Lethal Injection. But I'm also listening to one of our boys from our podcast, the other one, Rapper's Corner, Beware. He just dropped he just dropped his new album, so putting it out there for him. But nah, it's on point. It's on point. So and what about you? What you been listening to, man?
Well, as the time of this recording, I've been listening to Nas's new King's Disease 3.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, dude, for anybody listening to this, man, in my opinion, that is hands down, like, easily his best of the King's Disease series. But I think it's honestly his best, like, modern work. This is one of the first albums in a long time, dude, that I've heard where, like, just front to back, it's just one banger after the other, and I've wanted to, like, loop it back and keep listening to it, man. I mean, I'm really impressed with this one, and I highly recommend that for any of y'all who haven't peeped out Nas's King's Disease 3, don't sleep on it. But by the time this podcast does get dropped, that's the beginning of December, and holiday season's in swing, and I'm a dude that likes to do themed playlists and all that stuff.
That's Johnny Boy.
It's a mega dump of just like it's a hip hop holiday mix. You'll find it on Spotify, Johnny Warbux. But it's basically like every Christmas song referenced in hip hop. Any record that samples any kind of like holiday music, and just any songs that give me that overall vibe of like cold or snow or winter or family or any of that stuff, or a lot of like the more like spiritual, a lot of some of that Christian rap is in there, some of that like religious rap is in there. But it's a super dope mix. It's for people who want to kind of get into the spirit of December. I think this is the thing to put on instead of like getting stuck in that holiday music that you hear in the malls and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like it's way better, way more fun.
The only Mariah Carey I like is the one with Mobb Deep.
Yo, you don't like All I Want for Christmas? Come on, dog.
I do like the old dirty one too. So
fantasy.
Me and Mariah
go back like baby's a pacifier. Okay. Before we get too like caught up in all that, let's go ahead and hit you with some stats about Insane in the Brain. Cypress Hill, right? Cypress Hill is the band that consists of B-Brill, Sendog, DJ Muggs out of Southgate, LA, California. Former members include like Mellow Man Ace, and obviously Eric Bobo on the percussions is in there now. This album and single were recorded beginning around February of 1992, and the album of the single was released June 22nd, 1993. So it first officially appears outside of a single form on the Black Sunday album, which was their follow-up to their first Cypress Hill album, self-titled album. Black Sunday was triple platinum, got 4 mics in the source, and that dropped on July 20th of 1993. It was released on Rough House Records, which was founded back in 1989 by Chris Swartz and Joe the Butcher Nicolo in Philadelphia. distributed by Columbia Records, which was founded in 1989 by Edward D. Easton in New York City, New York. Song is produced by DJ Muggs, written by the whole collective Be Real, DJ Muggs, and Sendog. Song's about 3 minutes and 32 seconds long. This is a heavily sampled record. Just about every element of this record has a sample. Drum break from organist George Semper's cover version of Lee Dorsey's "Get Out of My Life, Woman," great song. A sample of James Brown grunting from the opening of his song "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud," right off the break. Like you hear it right off of the break. A sample of the actual line "Insane in the Brain." It comes from Cypress Hill's own song "Hole in the Head," which is just a vicious song. Opening keyboard from Sly and the Family Stone's "Life," which is heavily manipulated, and that's a really dope sample. And then at the ending of the song, they got this "I think I'm going crazy," right, which is from the Youngbloods, "All Over the World," La La, which was later removed in like all the later presses because they had trouble with sample clearances.
Okay, yeah, because I remember hearing that. And I remember not hearing it. And I was like,
yeah. If you listen to all the records, it just fades out. The song just fades out, right? Instead of it being like that. But in the music video, you can still see Sendog being like, it's super dope. As far as like certifications, this thing went gold both in USA and UK. And as far as charts are concerned, #1 hot rap single on Billboard charts, number 19 on Billboard Hot 100, #5 hot dance music maxi singles, number 27 on the hot R&B and hip hop singles, number 16 on rhythmic airplay and dance club songs. That's from Billboards, and the list goes on outside of the United States. That's all I wanted to share here. And with all that being said, man, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about the record.
Okay.
What do you got?
So I remember it was summer. It was 93, 92. I was around there. And I remember coming home from playing outside or wherever I was, whatever I was doing, but just coming home. I had a little TV in my room because I was one of the lucky ones that had like Nintendo in his room. Hell's yeah.
Oh shit.
But I had a little TV that caught some little channels, but I had the black box, so that also get me to see a whole bunch of channels. But I remember I remember hearing and I was like, this is funky, this is tight, and that's tight. And like I'm still young, I'm like in 5th going into 6th grade, I think. And I even then I was like just bumping that junks, man. And I remember like that year, like I bought that album because of that video. And the thing about the video too was that it was very different. It wasn't like your normal rap video. Every rap video was in the streets, in the gutters, all that kind of stuff. This is pre like even the lowrider like scene. This is like straight up like rugged stuff. And but then I see Cypress and it's like a rock video. There's skulls, there's mosh pits, there's violence. There's
like stage diving.
Yeah, like a stage diving, like so. And they don't look like ordinary rappers. They had like flannels on with like a bucket hat. You couldn't see Sendog's like eyes. Yeah, like B-Roll with his big ass afro and all that stuff. So it wasn't your typical rapper. I was like, okay, wait. Wait, hold on. Then like Be Real was like, I think I'm going loco or something like that. Don't you know I'm loco? Yeah, don't you know I'm loco, right? So then I was like, okay, so they're sampling Spanish. They're not black. Let me hold on. Let me see what's up. And I find out that they're Latin, except for Muggs, of course. But I'm like, oh snap. So like, as a young kid, I'm like, enamored with rap, and I was like, yo, fucking Cypress is Latin, man. That was like my first entrance into like having that confidence to just go ahead and just keep writing, keep doing my thing. You know what I mean? So So I remember I bought that album and I had gone to my boy Mike's house, and Mike had a Wu-Tang album. And like, I was like, what is Wu-Tang? Like, I've never heard of that, even the word. And my boy was like, what's Cypress? So I let him borrow the Cypress. He let me borrow the Wu.
Oh.
And we both came back the next day. We were like, damn, like that shit's on tight, like on point, son. So like, I remember that summer specifically, that video, those two albums just made my entire summer.
Yo,
So
that's crazy.
That was my junks. What about you?
Well, okay. So I got a story I think that might blow your mind a little bit, dog. But like, okay, so check it out. One, I was a late bloomer in the rap. This record came out like, what were we, like 11, something like that? And you said you were in sixth grade, sixth grade or some shit.
Yeah.
All right, so look, I mean, I didn't start really getting into rap music until like ninth grade, and I had just started getting into it, and you and I weren't really kicking it yet, right? And so, but I was in school, and we had a class together, and there was this one class where you had brought in a fucking boombox, and you were like playing music right before the class started, right?
I always brought in my CDs or a boombox. I would always play before, but it was yeah.
Yo, you remember when you used to have the Walkmans and shit? You have your headphones like through like your long sleeve, and you'd like sit down.
Yeah.
Yo, but so like, and what was crazy about it is like you were sitting like on a counter that I think is where like you're supposed to do work, and you had like a whole crew of people around you, and you had your boombox, and you were playing this song, right? And it was my first time hearing it. And since I didn't really know you like that, one, just this image is like so fucking hip hop. You know? But at the same time, like I remember just hearing that wee boom, 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 right? And I was like, dude, this is catchy as shit. Like, what is this? And so I started digging in, figured out it was Cypress Hill. And do you remember that kid JC? Do you remember that dude?
Yep.
Look, so I used to kick it with him a whole lot, and we had gone to the mall. And we went and bought a bunch of hip hop albums, and one of them included, Black Sunday. And I feel bad about it now, man. It's buried in some box somewhere. I kind of wish I had that picture to show y'all.
I do remember that picture. Yeah,
we're holding the CDs up, yo.
Yep.
And so, like, yo, and I used to like go and kick it at his house all the time, and just like just chill. And we studied Black Sunday like together, like we listening to it, talking about it, and just falling in love with it. And then I remember seeing the video and being like, this is fucking bananas. Like you said, there wasn't really any like hip hop videos like this. I mean, it was directed by Josh Taff. This is a dude that did videos for people like Nas and A Tribe Called Quest, but he also was like really heavy into like the rock and roll scene. He was doing videos for like Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots.
See, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Pearl Jam, and so the video ties into that, and at the same time, like you were like confused about them being black. Dude, you see Be Real and Muggs in this video, and I thought they were white, and so I was like, oh shit, like there's this like hot record on right now with these white dudes, and people are fucking with it, and I was like, that opened up a door for me like to feel more comfortable. Of course, digging into it, you find out like a Cuban, half Cuban, Mexican, Italian, but like still, like I mean, they were dressed up like hard, like cholos,
Yeah, no, and it was just so different. Like, even that like the cholo look, but still it had like the big ass afro and
big
like
afro, yeah.
It was just the look, the sound, the aggressiveness of the video was what caught my eye. Like, and then there's a couple things because like Cypress, like. I Kalishnikov read and like I have this other group, and like this other group, there's this other guy named Sir Puff, and Sir Puff is in the Rappers Corner podcast that we do. Johnny here was a guest, but me and him kind of have like this like mentorship friendship thing going on between like Sendog. Well, he does more Sendog, and he used to have Mellow Mayonnaise. Now, for those that don't know, Mellow Mayonnaise is Sendog's brother, and then in the 80s, Mellow Mayonnaise was one of the first Latin hip hop artists that actually flowed in Spanish and English. Like there was Gerardo Mejia, which was rico, suave, like
Suave, yeah.
right. But then you had Melo Menes, where he's like Mentirosa, that was the name of the
Oh yeah,
song.
Mentirosa,
And he sampled Santana, right? But like so in that song, like he did a bilingual thing. That was actually the first time. So through Mellow Man, Cypress became Cypress. If you can, or you can have an argument of that, right? So the thing was that like Mellow Man was like my boy's mentor, so he would tell us, you know, the ins and outs of the industry, who to talk to, who to trust, who not to trust, who was shady. So like you know, and he was like, you guys gotta, you know, change this up and this and that. So he was like mentoring us, but then like
yeah.
you know, he, we kind of lost contact with him, but we became more in contact with Cypress. So the thing is, like we do have like this friendship thing going on, and there's some
That's dope. That's
tidbits
dope.
that you know not too many people know. Like there is in all my life, okay, in all my life, I thought that like I would hear it from everybody. This is pre-internet, right? It
Yeah,
was just this was like common knowledge before like MySpace and all that shit. Like that was a sample from a show called Mr. Ed. It was Mr. Ed the Talking Horse,
I
and that
love that show though.
yeah, so did I. And then there was at the intro of that show, there was like the theme song, and at the very end, there's like a name, like E, and like if you pitch up that E, it becomes like really high, and that's what was everybody like for just it was just common knowledge. That's what was sampled, and because it was sampled, that Cypress ended up getting sued because they didn't have the copyright stuff. But
Yeah, no, no. See, this is all like, and the funny part is, man, is like, because you're right, there wasn't the internet, so it's like it's almost like phone tag, right? Like one person says one thing and it becomes this other thing, and then it explodes into this whole other thing, right? So there was no lawsuits, there was no Mr. Ed, none of that actually happened. But there was this record back in like what is it, like the late '60s, '70s? There was this group called Mel and Tim. They were the soul group, right? And they had this record called "Good Guys Only Win in the Movies." And it starts off with a horse neighing, right? And I'm telling you right now, if you listen to it, like there's no question. I mean, without pitching or editing, this is 100% the bit that was sampled. However, there's like discrepancies because back in like 2018, DJ Muggs actually was interviewed and was saying that he keeps hearing that, and like all these sample websites keep getting, you know, sometimes they get shit right, but a lot of times it gets shit way off point. He says that he created it using a blues guitar with like a guitar amp, right? And like manipulated this blues guitar to make that like he just did it himself. But like literally like 2 months later in another interview, he was like, "Yeah, man, it was a horn I sampled," and so so I had to like wait a minute because that's like so far off, right? Like so like Muggs is not telling the truth about this, right? And then again, like a couple months after that, there's another interview where he was like, "Look, man, I mean, I'm sorry that I'm like all foggy about insane in the brain, you know, because when we were recording that and making that record, there was just a lot of weed smoked." And so look, man, he's either telling the truth, right, and he just can't remember what instrument it was, or he 100% used the sample and is just trying to avoid getting in any kind of trouble with sample clearances and royalties after what 3 decades of making music. Like that would be a big fucking check
yeah,
to
yeah.
that estate. So here's what I'll say. Who knows for sure, but I'm gonna add that song to the playlist that is for Remember the Record episode 2 on my Spotify for Cypress Hill, and you just be the judge. You listen to it and you tell me, is that the sample or not, right? It's just but that's like one of my favorite parts of the whole record is that it's so iconic, and yet also the story behind it is so iconic. But if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, there's something else kind of like low key iconic about this record too, right?
Yeah, so they're
Like it's not just
going
a party joint.
no, and going back to, you know, the time of Mellow Mayonnaise. So like in the Latin rap history, like in California, like you had Kid Frost and Mellow Mayonnaise, and both of them were like the number one, the first Latin like bilingual rappers. And this is where it gets interesting because there's an enclave of hip hop in LA called Chicano rap. And then there's your normal rap. And Chicano rap tends to stay in the Chicano hemisphere and never leaves the Chicano hemisphere. It's not bad. It's just not that well known due to the fact that it stays in that hemisphere. So like Kid Frost was like more into that world, and Mellow Mayonnaise was more into, you know, getting signed, getting out there, and getting internationally known. And he was going to bring Cypress along, and Cypress was like, there was like a disagreement between Kid Frost and Cypress on how, you know, Kid Frost maybe should leave the Chicano movement or Chicano rap movement and go into like the international, more known like hemisphere. And like there was this disagreement, so there was a diss, and Be Real, like his lyrics, like, well, no, it wasn't Be Real, it was actually Sendog's lyrics. Sendog at the time was also going out with Kid Frost's sister, so like it was a big whole fucking thing, right? But like if you listen to Sendog's verse, and it took me forever to figure this out, because, and I listened to Kid Frost like probably maybe like a year or two after I started listening to Cypress. So it goes all the way back. And I didn't know about this until way later. But Sendog's like, fat boy on a diet, don't try it. I'll check your ass like a Luna at a right. Much too fat like a sumo, slamming that ass, leaving your face in the grass. So like he's talking about Kid Frost, you know, in that reference. And Kid Frost at the time, he wasn't skinny, but he wasn't big. It was just, you know, bigger, right? So like I guess
he was talking his shit.
Yeah, it was, you know, fat boy on a diet, don't try it. And then like on Be Real's end, like there was, if I remember correctly, like the beef between him and Chubb Rock. But I there's like a line in I just can't remember the name of the song.
Yo, I got it. Look, check it out. So like Chubb Rock did a song with Red Hot Lover Tone, and it was called Yabba Dabba Doo, right? And and Chubb and one, there's like this kind of note, there's this little slight shade where Red Hot Lover Tone's like talking about not smoking weed and like, weed sucks and all that stuff. That's here or there. That's up for debate. But Chubb Rock 100% on his verse, on the second verse, he goes, he's buzzing, coming at you. And we had to watch it, Tom, for some lyrics. And like when you hear it, it's 100% like shade towards, Cypress Hill's How I Could Just Kill a Man, right? Or at least that's how Be Real took it. And I think if you go and listen to the record, and I'll probably throw that on my playlist too, but if you listen to the record, you tell me, like he 100% is like taking his cadence and the whole thing. So Be Real took it like that. And Chubb Rock back in the day used to call himself the flamboyant one. And so Be Real just like goes right off of the brakes. He's like, to the one on the flamboyant tip, I'll toss that ham in the frying pan, right? Like so he's talking about Chubb Rock on that. So this is this big party song about getting high and having fun, and yet somehow it's also like a multiple diss record. How crazy is that?
and there was the single. You know what I mean?
Like their breakthrough single. And so like, and to this day, it's like still played out. And the thing is that in an interview, like Be Real was like, he's a fan of Chubb Rock, right? And so his, like when he first heard the diss, he was like heartbroken. He said it in the interview, and he was like, man, this is the dude that I like grew up listening to. I've performed and like did shows with him, and this dude comes out like this sideways. And I guess since then it's forever been squashed, but like they still play that record all the time, and it's like,
if you know, you know. If you know, you know,
saying?
right? And the thing going back to Sendog and Kid Frost, Kid Frost actually came back with a song called "King of the Hill," which alludes to another King of the Hill that came later down Cypress's road. But Kid Frost not only comes back with that with that song, not a verse, an entire song, but he imitates Be Real's flow.
No.
Like, and with that high pitch nasally, he does the whole song like that. And you're like, damn, son. But, you know, going into the, you know, what I was speaking on earlier, Ice Cube and Cypress Hill.
Yeah.
Like,
So look, again, I was late into this game, right? And so like when I first heard, I was peeping a lot of West Coast shit. I was big on like gangster rap really hard when I was first like listening to hip hop music, and I was listening. I got that West Side Connection album, and so King of the Hill is like one of the very first diss records I had ever heard, you know. And I knew Cypress Hill. I was listening to Cypress Hill, so like I knew exactly what was going on in the record, and my man just like went fucking in like. And the thing is that like there was like some like tension between the camps because like, you know, Sin Dog, he didn't want anything to do with this. So you don't hear him when Be Real and the rest of the crew go in on No Rest for the Wicked. And at the same time, Dub C, he didn't want anything to fucking do with this. So you don't hear him rap at all on King of the Hill. He just at the ending is like, damn, somebody got fucked up or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But like, dude, it's like who won the battle though?
okay, see, I can't say this is the one battle in all the hip hop canon of battles that I can
I'm out.
Yeah, I can't choose a side because of the fact that, like I said, Cypress opened the door for me when it came to the Latin rap thing, but Ice Cube opened the door for me as the rapper of, like, there's four influences majorly that I've had in my life, and it's Cypress Hill, it's Wu-Tang, it's Scarface, and it's Ice Cube.
Yes.
And to have them beef really broke my heart because and I mean, look, Cypress came a little bit harder than Cube, but like Cube also came hard. You know what I mean? And like, I can't.
It was vicious, man.
Yeah, it's like
I'm having illusions.
Yeah, like
illusions of me whooping your motherfucking ass.
You know, I mean, but this also puts you into realization of how like beefs were in the 90s, one, and how like even Cypress was in fact part of the whole beef thing. Like it is interesting because like for them to be the first Latin rappers out there, like big time, you know what I mean? Because there was, prior to them, there were other Latin rappers, but to make it out there, to be on MTV on
triple platinum, man. I mean,
and not only that, but to play on the fucking, you know, remember back in the spring break, the MTV shit, all that shit. Like it was just, you know, that's Cypress was not just known to the Latin community. Cypress was known and respected for everybody's community. You know what I mean? And that's something that just, you know, it opened the door for me. So like Ice Cube and his like anger, you know, like really like made me who I am when it comes to my political stuff. You know, if it wasn't for Ice Cube, I wouldn't be reading my books. So
no Kalashnikov Crawford without any Ice Cube.
No. So I can't say. I just know that I love them both, and now they're all cool with each other. So that's what's cool. Like,
so big record, big single, you know, big breakthrough for the Latin community. Also big breakthroughs for you know, decades plus of marijuana advocacy too, right? Like I mean. Yeah. When this record came out, like there's all of this like smoke in the music video, which is you know, alluding to, you know, weed smoke, right? And there's all these psychedelic tripping, like touching the screen and making the screen vibrate, all these like psychedelic colors. Like they were doing that big promo, and the album cover on the inside of the sleeve note, I remember there being this huge long list about like the things that can be done with the hemp plant. And so even just off of Black Sunday alone, like it was massive. These were the first guys to smoke joints or light blunts up on stage, hit bongs on stage. What, they got banned from SNL?
Yeah.
For lighting up, remember that? I mean, if I remember correctly, they're banned to this fucking day. Like they still can't go on the show.
Yeah.
You know, and here we are today where they, you know, I mean, I literally was just down the street doing some work this past week. and drove right by a dispensary that I didn't even know was there. And I was like, good Lord, there's just like, you can go buy weed wherever you want. It's a whole new world out there, man. And these guys, partnering up with High Times and having their own side hustles with the Dr. Green Thumb business, like these guys really like
and
put
and
things on the
and
map.
and just to do a little bit of history here, like don't get me wrong, like Snoop Dogg and
Oh
Method
yeah,
Man and Redman are
Mount
also
Cushmore.
all of that. But if we're really talking about the group that okay, weed was always in hip hop, but it was just whatever. But like
They
the
weren't
group,
really talked about though, like NWA, Dre's like I don't smoke no weed or sex, like
exactly.
they were
So
the first ones embracing it, making it cool
yeah,
to talk about.
yeah, and that's when hip hop became like at the Loonies and Afro Man and
Both
just
Sons of
so on and so
Harmony
forth.
and
It's
yeah,
just
everybody.
everybody. So that's one thing. Like, yeah, I remember like it was on the newspaper, and I remember having a shirt with Cypress Hill with the skull with the marijuana leaf on it.
Yeah.
And my mom, it was for my birthday. I'm always like my mom like took my shirt, took my CD, took everything, my poster of Cypress Hill because of what happened Saturday Night Live. It was on the news. It was
Oh,
like
that's fucked
on
up.
Fox 5 News or
Boo, ma.
NBC or whatever.
Boo.
So like, yeah, that's how far back I listened to Cypress. So you know what I mean. So like for me to do this what we're doing, actually pretty cool. It's like I said, to me it opened a lot of doors and it made me also be who I am today. You know what I mean?
This was a no brainer. This was a no brainer for me. So listen, I think we got a couple more minutes before we're gonna go and like hop into the games, but I wanted to quickly give you a chance to speak on like some of the lyrics in this record. This is not a hyper complicated lyrical record. This is more about cadence and persona and style. But one of my favorite parts are right at the beginning when that bass line kind of starts to when it starts to drop, and they're like, and Be Real's like, and the lights are blinking. I'm
I'm
thinking it's
thinking
all
so
over when
low
I
when I
go
got
out
out
drinking.
drinking.
Oh,
Oh, making my
making my
mind.
mind slow.
Yeah,
That's why I don't fuck with the big phone. Oh, bro,
I
dude,
got
I
to
love.
maintain.
Yo, that's like my favorite part of that whole shit, dude. Just the way he does that whole thing. Keep it flowing like General Electric. Yeah, dude, he just had such a great flow on that joint.
Yeah, it's funny because like Sen Dog had a really like big like influence on how I write my lyrics and
For sure.
my sound. Now, I don't want to say I bit, but I definitely will say he influenced me a lot, and it's what I've come to notice. And this is no shade on B or anybody else from Cyprus, but Sen Dog, when he flows in Spanish, he flows like he flows in English. And so
Okay.
what I mean, he's got this like it's like Latin attitude that when he flows. And like that Latin attitude is what influenced me on how I flow. So I don't flow nasally, I don't flow high, I don't flow this, that I flow with power, with like energy. And like
Yeah.
Sendog, when he would get on the mic, insane in the brain, like that's
Yeah.
a lot of energy, a lot of power. And not only that, but like his flow is like it's like that like
Yeah.
that's how my breakdown of words are. You know what I mean? Like, and now I'm a lot faster. But when I first started, it was like, this is how I flow, motherfucker. Step back. I got to get you know that I got the gat. Like that was, that kind of flow. So I when I would listen to the cadence and just the flow of Sendog, that really like made my like it gave me direction on how I flow. And as a Spanish speaking rapper, like when I hear Sendog flow in Spanish, it's perfect.
Yeah.
But when I hear Be Real flow in Spanish, there's a lot of mistakes.
Oh,
So
word?
like, yeah. So like there is a difference between, and that's why like Sendog, he can flip the tongue a lot. Like,
Yeah.
like and how could I just kill him in his things? Been doing all the dumb shit, yo, because the shit is coming from, I'm not gonna win. There's no time got you humming, coming at you, and
I
you
ain't gonna
know I
waste no
had
time.
to get you.
I ain't gonna waste no time. I'm fucking around like Jimmy Hundred. Yeah, dude, this shit's
Yes,
so hot.
like that was also, that's what I call that Latin like flow, because it's got that rhythm. Be Real can't go like that. You see what I'm saying? I mean, he can. Don't get me wrong,
Audio
but
X,
like,
he gives it his go.
and Psycho Realm, he does it a lot too.
Oh yeah.
You know, but and going back to tying this earlier, just going back to Hurricane G, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hurricane G did a song with Delinquent Habits, and Delinquent Habits featured, because Sendog kind of brought Delinquent Habits out. So
Yeah.
Sendog, that was featured in the Hurricane G song with Delinquent Habits. As you know, just going back, Hurricane G did shit with everybody, East Coast, West Coast, doesn't matter who, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, you know, it was different too. Other rappers weren't rapping like that, not at all. You know, nobody
No.
was like insane in the brain, and nobody was like insane in the brain. Nobody was like that. You know what I mean? So at that time, it was groundbreaking in every sense, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I remember like I think I was watching a documentary or something, but I remember like maybe it was Ice-T that said it, but he was listening for his first time here in Cyprus. He was like, "Yo, man, this dude Be Real. He's got like that sort of like, ad rock Beastie Boys kind of thing, but it's just different, and it's got this LA swagger to it, and this Latin flair to it. But like outside of that, there wasn't anybody that was hitting this nasal thing." And as much as Sendog was an influence to you, Be Real was to me, because I naturally have a higher pitched voice. So when I'm rapping, I'm always in that nasal, passage when I'm rapping. And so I break off more pieces of Be Real than I ever did Sendog. And you remember back in the day, like, I mean, I used to always be like, man, Sendog's whack, dude. Like, I was so big on like complex bars that like I just wrote him off. He was always like the hype man, he was just making noises in the background, but and to be perfectly honest, like there's so many, even during that time I was talking all that shit, he had so many verses that I fucked with super hard, like his verse in Tequila Man is like one of my favorites. And I'm a chicken hunting for a chicken, dude, I love that shit. But like, and Rap Rock Superstar, he's got a fantastic verse on that. So
Yeah.
I mean, that was just me being like some type of way back in the day. I adore both of these guys. Love DJ Muggs. DJ Muggs for me is a top 5 producer DJ
Oh no, it's
of all
definitely,
time.
definitely,
And it's
definitely. Sorry, I just got to put this in about Muggs, man,
yeah.
because okay, if you listen to Cypress's music at the time that Cypress came out, it didn't sound anything like what was coming out on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Now
Heavily East Coast influence.
Now, okay, let me correct myself here. First Cypress Hill album had Public Enemy's people.
Don't do that to me, because it's a bomb squad.
Bomb Squad,
No,
right?
it's a bomb squad. No, Noise. Oh my god, that's
Bomb
really
Squad. I want to say it's Bomb Squad, but anyways, it
that's
had
so fucked up.
Public Enemy's people, like music influence on. You can hear it. There's a lot of samples. There's in a lot of their. I mean, even in Insane and Membrane, there's a lot of samples, but there's a lot of samples, like a lot of samples in the first album, and that's a lot of how Public Enemy had their sound go on too. And when Muggs came from New York, he brought that East Coast sound to Cyprus. And at the time, the West Coast was just coming off of electro beat. So it was Ice-T and it was Kid Frost. And you had like, they didn't have its sound yet. It didn't have its sound. But like when Muggs went to Cyprus and brought that sound, like it was unique because California didn't adapt that sound, but it accepted that sound, and that sound was pretty much East Coast, but with a touch of West Coast. So like then like as when the Black Sunday album comes out, which is Insane in the Membrane, like it still doesn't sound anything like the rest of the West Coast at that time. And when like they're following albums came out, none of these albums sounded like what was coming out from Los Angeles at the time those albums came out. So as a producer, I really give props to Muggs, because I also produce, and like I learned a lot from Muggs. You know what I mean? Listening, because not only, you know, little is known, but he did sample like Paparazzi for Exhibit. You know, and that's one of the greatest beats ever. And he does other stuff that you're just like, boy, that was Muggs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, House of Pain, you know, Jump
House
Around. Funk Dubious, like Wab Baba Luba,
Dude,
like,
so good.
like it just
Predator, Ice Cube, like
Predator, Ice Cube, man,
one
like
of the greatest albums of all time.
Shit, like
okay. Muggs, we love you. We're on this clock, and we got to start.
True.
We got to do a transition. This is a very hard segue into the games. So this episode, I've got a couple of games I'd like to play with, you know, and we only got about 20 minutes, so we got to make sure we kind of roll with the punches here. But game number one, the deep cuts. Okay, so aside from the songs that were released as singles, what is your favorite record off Black Sunday? Now these are the singles. Doesn't necessarily mean they had a music video, so I'm gonna omit those. Here's your list. What is the best song from Black Sunday? I Want to Get High, Cock the Hammer, Three Little Putos, Hits from the Bong, We'll Go Around, Come Around Kid, A to the K, Hand on the Glock, Break 'em Off Some, and I'll throw in the Scooby-Doo unreleased record that was on the B-sides of the singles as well. What do we got?
That whole album is just such a great album. This
Front to back, top to bottom.
Really hard. There's so many different reasons why I like so many different songs. So I can't officially say there's that one other one, because that one other one will lead. Okay, that's because I like this. Then there's another one like that. I think music. No. See, all right. Three Little Putos is one of my favorite ones. Just because it's got that whole Latin thing. But don't get me wrong, though. Every song on that album is my favorite one because of certain specific reasons.
Yeah, time and place it. I'm dude. I'm gonna go with Cock the Hammer, dude. That dum 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 dum.
See,
I'm
that's
hunting for a chicken.
See, I love that, the rain. I love the bass. I love the Sendog's flow. I love the guy in the background. Brap, brap, like all that shit. Like I love that shit. But Three Little Putos, I also like because of the whole like flow and the Latin thing. And then there's I can't. There's just so many on that, man.
I'm gonna give you the credit and say that you right now are filling Three Little Putos as your record, but all of them are bangers.
Yeah,
no argument. I mean, I have the same answer to that question. All of them are the best, time and place. But for deep cuts, for me, Cock the Hammer was my shit, dude. Off of the ones that weren't singles off of the record. Now we're gonna do. Speaking of singles, we're gonna do singles only. All right. Aside from
still the same thing.
Yo. Well, because the other records, those were the deep cuts that were from the Black Sunday album.
I know.
Now we're opening it up.
Okay.
Aside from the hit single "Insane in the Brain," what other chart topping single is your favorite by Cypress Hill and why? Now, just to side up with that, 30 plus years of a catalog, 10 studio albums, 1 live, 5 compilations, 5 EPs, 37 fucking singles to date. And that's excluding the features as like a group or singles that came out from solo artists or any other side projects. I mean, that number probably is above 100. So I'm going to quickly try to flash this list. It's a hard to read list. Look at all these fucking songs.
I know. I got that list too, man. It's a lot of fucking songs.
Yo, I'm going to try to put it over here. Look, y'all want to pause that screen and think about it yourself.
I'm going to put it on mine too. I don't know if you can see it on mine.
Look at all that shit, dude. What is the best single by Cypress Hill outside of Insane in the Brain?
Oh, man. Okay.
This is hard, right?
From this list. Yeah. Again, to preface this, I will say all of these are just amazing songs. There's not one that I put over another one. But if I got a gun to my head and this is the game that I'm playing, the one that really stands out for me out of this list, just due to the fact of how I was feeling at the time and how the album just really spoke to me in general. And it was the one album that was very different than like the rest of Cypress Hill's stuff. But and just how I was really depressed. I'm a really depressed person. So, as a little kid, I was also depressed. And at that time, Illusions was how I felt. You know what I mean? Exactly
That's the
how I felt.
one. That's the one I chose. That's my
Really?
shit too. No, it's straight up and down, man. I mean, if all the records here, I've listened to all of these 1,000 times. I go into the back. I say how I could just kill a man. If we were off of Black Sunday, I think I Ain't Going Out Like That is the hardest banger off the whole fucking shit. But Illusions is the one. He's literally on a Cypress Hill, and there's like fire, and they got a body, and they're just rapping over this. Dude, it's like the most hardest shit ever. But Illusions is the record that, I mean, down and out, pissed off at people. I have revisited that record probably more than any other song put out by Cypress Hill. Illusions, hands down, for me. That's crazy that you picked that too. Out of all of these,
fuck them and feed them.
Because I don't need them.
No,
some people tell me that I need help. Some people can fuck off and go to hell.
No, man, and that whole album to me was a really dark album. And musically, like, it was amazing. Like, that Illusions. I think one of the main reasons why it's those xylophones, man. And I come to find out, just because this is the generation I grew up with, and Johnny Boy here will understand. I did my research, and that song is a jazz song, and it's like something in Las Vegas, summertime in Las Vegas or something like that. But yeah, and I would listen to that, and I'm like, from that sample, I ended up getting that song because it's such a beautiful song. But for them to sample jazz, that's, to me, is like awesome. I love jazz, so anything jazz like oriented, like that's, I guess, what caught my ear. Just that soft xylophone, but dark and sad xylophone.
And that crazy Apocalypse Now style music video that went with it, dude. This is, man, yeah, that's the record, dude. That's so fun. I'm not surprised. Of course, we both like Illusions the best. Now with the time, now this is going to be a speed round because we have 5 of these challenges to go through, and they're going to be tough. We're going to go into the last part of our games, which is verses. Which track is nicer? Okay, which track is nicer? And this is gonna. I have a feeling we're gonna have some problems here, but let's start off easy. The softball throw. Which is nicer, Rap Superstar or Rock Superstar?
I go Rock.
Fuck yeah, 1,000 times over.
I go Rock. Just the strength, the strength, and just that guitar that. And I think it had, if I'm correct, I think they sample Eminem and they sample Everlast, which is kind of ironic because Everlast and Eminem at that time had beef with each other.
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, so on Rap Superstar they had Eminem on it, and then on Rock Superstar they had Everlast.
Okay.
Homie from oh my God, Soulfly. What was the name of that band, man? Holy shit. Oh God, that's terrible. Nope. We're gonna have to move on because that's just gonna really eat me alive once I finally figure it out. I'll shout it out to you later. But that record. All right. How about the Stoner Challenge? I got 3 here. Which one's nicer? Stoned is the Way of the Walk, Hits from the Bong, or High Times? One from each album. The first 3 albums.
Ooh.
All 3 of them.
I like Hits from the Bong. I like Hits from the Bong. Just
is that Preacher Man? Son of a Preacher Man.
Yeah, it's that dun dun dun, like hits from the ball, like that sample, that dun dun. I don't get me wrong, all of them are good, but I do go hits from the bong,
That was
and
probably
I
my, that was
perfected
probably
the.
oh
No, I was gonna say
the
listening
bubble.
to. Wait, I can't do it
Yeah.
now, but yeah, but yeah,
Yeah, that was the first one that I heard, and so I'm really partial to it. But there's something about that beat and how he's kicking it on "Stoned Is the Way to Walk," dude. I adore
okay,
that record.
okay. I
It's
give you
such a
that
chill
too.
ass record. Of all the
I give
three
you
of
that too. It's
them, if
funny.
I were like of the three of them, if I was actually like being stoned, that would be the record I'd want to like hear in the background. You know what I mean? It just like had that
It's
vibe
it's
to it.
it's funny. It's funny because Sir Puffalot would say "High Times" like that.
Oh,
It's so it's
and I love that one. I mean, because he's
no.
telling a
It's just
story about him coming up.
right, but it's just funny how we all have our own ones. You know what I mean? You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
yours, I have mine, but overall, they're great songs.
That's the beauty of Cypress Hill, though, man. They got something for every walk. Stoned is the way. I love
Way
that. Now,
the
now, here comes the more challenging aspect of our verses. We got three more to go. 10 minutes. How about Ice Cube's Friday from the Friday soundtrack? Oh yeah, throw your neighborhood in the air. Or Cypress Hill's Throw Your Set in the Air, from which they played for Ice Cube, and Ice Cube basically stole that shit for the Friday song. And that was their new single coming out on Temple of Boom. Throw your set in the
and
air.
that was the beef. That was the beef that
That's what
happened.
started it. That's what set it up.
I honestly I love Cypress, man, but that goes to Cube.
That goes to Cube, right? That record.
That beat, that
That beat is sick.
his face,
Yeah,
like his
it's
face,
so
that beat, like that's all that it needs,
that,
man. Like
that whole vibe of that. I 100% play Friday 1,000 times more often than I
yeah,
do Throw Your Set in
yeah,
There. I
yeah,
love Throw Your Set in There. It's a hard ass
yeah,
record, but
yeah,
dog,
yeah,
Friday is such a oh
yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah.
with your dick hanging sideways. Cool fool, because it's Friday.
Yeah, that
Okay,
beat is amazing.
the beat is so good, dude. And then segueing into, I think, a more difficult thing based on what we've been talking about today. Which song is nicer? West Side Connection's King of the Hill or Cypress Hill's No Rest for the Wicked? I'm not picking sides on who won the battle. Who got what record is nicer? Yeah.
It's hard to it's hard to I there's so many variables because like if it was Ice Cube and Just Be Real, that'd be one thing. But it's including West Side Connection, including Cypress Hill. So that also adds variables to it too. And like they weren't really truly beefing with each other. It was more Ice Cube and Be Real, but I go with Cypress.
I do too, man. I mean, dog, straight up. King of the Hills don't want to put me onto it, and that shit. I thought that I was like, "There's no harder diss record out there, right?" But dude, like, Be Real brought the facts, man.
He did. He
But
did. You can't deny it. You can't.
he
Like,
he also was the one that got screwed. He's like, "Yo, don't
yeah.
trust that motherfucker named O'Shea. Fuck
Oh
him and
shit.
send him on his way."
Yeah. No.
What do you say?
Yeah.
I got Cube melting in the tray, pulling out his card and fucking up his good day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Be Real did come through, and that's again going back to what I was saying earlier. Cypress is as well as a stoner group, a party group, a cholo group. It's a battle group.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
they were the hardest rappers out of LA, man, and
yeah,
they showed up for it with a lot of their records, man.
yep,
Um,
yep.
so that's a tough one. I know that's a tough one. Now this one I think is going to be equally tough, man. But let's see what you got to say about Killer Hill with the Wu-Tang Clan, Temple of Boom, or the Boom Biddy Bye Bye remix with the Fugees.
Oh man,
They're both absolutely
Oh
outstanding records.
man. Okay,
Outstanding.
I have to go. I have to go. He's back as I squeeze up on the trigger. And I have to be
Killer Hills,
just because it has. I mean, Fuji's is amazing, but like I said earlier, man, Wu-Tang and Cypress to me are like my fathers in rap. You know, so when they got that song together, I busted like 20 nuts that day, man, because and like it was just amazing to me. Like,
how you fools talking faster than Puerto Ricans?
No, and I remember I like memorized all their verses. That's how. I mean, don't get me wrong, Fuji's is amazing too, man. But when it comes to being hard and being gritty and being just everything
fucking hip hop, dude.
Yeah.
Killer Hills is the harder record, right? So here's what I'm gonna say. No doubt, Killer Hills is the harder record. But man,
I know, man. I know.
I think I gotta go with the remix, only because, dude, that beat is incredible.
The beat, I know. That's why it's hard, man.
Lauryn Hill murders that little like cadence in the background of the hook, and they like just the way because the original hook was dope. Boom, baby, bye bye, tap up on the phone, eat, boom, baby, bye bye. But this one, like with the bounce of the music, is like boom, baby, bye bye. Next one to die is me. The next one to die.
Yeah.
And just the way they open that record, you say guns, I say pistola.
You
now
got beef on cállate la boca.
Shit is so hot. Shit is so hot. It is just a fun record to revisit, dude. So for me, I think I got to go with it. But I love. Killer Hills is like one of the best records they ever put out. So
I mean, I give it to you, man. Like I don't.
It's hard.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, you know, and you don't disagree with mine either. It's just what it is. Like, yeah, I think it is, again, with those two songs, it's depending on how I feel, those songs are perfect. Yeah. And that makes sense. Like, if I want to go kill somebody, if I want to go, then it's Killer Hills, you know. But if I want to be like, just be like street bobbing my head, then it's, you know, the other one, man. So yeah, like, yeah.
That's. I knew that when I wrote it, I was like, "That's gonna really fuck with him, dude." Because it was like stabbing my heart to be like, one's got to die.
I know, right?
I can't pick one over the other. It's like
you sons of bitches.
so I mean, what I'll say here as we get ready to wrap it up, I would love to hear in the comment section your opinion of what was the best single out there outside of Insane in the Brain. What was your favorite record off of the Black Sunday album? And those verses, what do you think? Who got it? All these songs are going to be available on my Spotify, Johnny Warbux. Look up episode 2, episode 2, Remember the Record, Insane in the Brain. I'll have the all the singles by Cypress Hill. I'll have the rest of the Black Sunday album on there. I'm going to have all the records from the verses, and I'm going to have all of the samples that led up to the instrumental, and then we'll close out that playlist with the instrumental itself. So it's a longer one because these fools had so many records. So like this is like it's going to be close to, once I get everything done, about 4 hours. But it's definitely a playlist to go and just revisit this experience of Insane in the Brain. And of course, my name is Johnny Warbux. I have that album. It's a party over here on Bandcamp. If you're able to drop some money on it for support, I appreciate it. If not, I'd rather you just listen to it. You can download it for free if you want to. It's a party over here on Bandcamp, Johnny Warbux. Otherwise, follow me on Instagram for some freestyles and some other shit. And keep watching. Remember the Record. That's it.
Yeah, no, definitely. Listen to my boy over here. He's got some ill shit, you know. Listen to my shit.
Dope ass shit.
Yeah, Kalishnikov Red, again, going back to Ice Cube, Scarface, Cypress Hill, Wu-Tang. The guys who created Kalishnikov Red. Kalishnikov Red, I'm in all the streaming sites, Apple Music, all that stuff, Spotify, all that stuff. Keep in tune with this program, what we have right now going on. Remember the Record. Help us out, you know, share it, do everything, because this is pretty cool shit what we're doing here, and we're doing it for you guys because if we like it, you like it. You know what I mean? Also, beware of Beware. Beware has come out with a new album, just dropped. Beware was one of our guests with Murder Music podcast on the Rappers Corner. So check him out. He can show him some love. Anytime that any of our guests do anything, we like to share it, and I would like to have them come back and talk about their new stuff. So anybody out there that is feeding the community with hip hop, respecting the community of hip hop, and keeping it alive, get in contact with us. And, if you want to showcase your stuff, just, let us know. And, give us suggestions too for this episode, for this pod. If you guys want us to cover certain people, on the comments, write those people down. You know what I mean? Like, we're doing what we do because the guys we like, and they're all going to be awesome legends. But, if you got some other ones that you guys want, let us know and we can get down on that too. Again, this is Rappers Corner, and this is Remember the Record, and Kalishnikov Red, Johnny Warbux, and Beware of Beware. All right. Mad love to you guys, and we will...
What are we gonna do next time, man? January.
So January is coming up, isn't it?
Yeah, we gotta do another record. Hey, you know what, man? I'm not entirely sure what we should do, dog, but when we get to January, maybe we should just wish everybody a happy Woo Year. Happy Woo Year. I like that. All right, guys. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for what we have planned out for you guys, and stay tuned for everything that we stream and everything that we do. We do it for you guys. All right, peoples. Much love. There you go, hip hop, and there you go, Kalishnikov right there. Boom. I don't know, you can't see it. Whatever. There you go. All right, peoples. We out here. We out. What? Peace.